Hello there, my Scorpio collective. I hope you're having a wonderful day. What's up, Scorpios? You can ring my bell, ring my bell. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, Scorpios. What's going on, Scorpios? What's up? What's up, Scorpios? God protects me and God fights my battles. No weapon formed in spirit or physical against me shall prosper. I'm highly favored and protected from all evil, as is my beautiful Scorpio collective. Scorpios, what's going on, Scorpios? Sacred geometry. Some of y'all getting drawn to patterns. Sacred geometry. Many points of light. Maybe you're going to watch a drone show. Pay attention to the patterns. Focus on your healing crystals, some of you. Something is catching your attention. Maybe it's a certain geometric pattern. Maybe it's a shape. Maybe some of you are looking at patterns. See if you're not like drawn to a particular type print or some sort of it could be like the pattern on clothing or tiles or something like that, or sacred geometry for some of you. Yeah, some of you it could be sacred geometry. It's all about the pattern. Focusing on the patterns. Maybe some of you are creating your own patterns. Maybe you're creating your own, and patterns could be anything, right? Patterns for a sewing project, pattern for a wood making project, pattern for a book, the layout for a book, whatever you got going on there. Pay attention to the patterns. Maybe for some of you, your particular patterns. Something very... let's see if that Fool card shows up again. Something related to like the geometry of things. Geometry, it's like the Fibonacci sequence, right? The golden ratio. It's going to be something very organically right. Proportions. Proportions. Some of you look at things from a different perspective as well, right? Some of you, this is like that forced perspective. So you're going to be very optical. You could be seeing things or noticing things. It feels like look at things from a different perspective as well. Whatever you're dealing with. So if you got a problem or a situation and you've been trying to work through it, this feels like just literally walk around it. Put it in the middle of the floor and walk around it. Look at it from different angles. Hang over the side of your fucking couch and look at it. It feels like you're going to get it when you look at it differently. But it's something to do with patterns. It's patterns. But it feels like something that's repeatable. That's why you make a pattern of it, right? If you're a dressmaker, you make clothes, you're making a woodworking project, whatever the fuck you're doing, it's repeatable because you make a pattern of it. The moon, there's Pisces. Temperance angel. Some of you could definitely be focusing on your shadow work. I don't want you to get all overly emotional now, Scorpios. Reel that shit in. Okay, don't go down that rabbit hole. Stay grounded. There's good and bad, right? There's good and bad in everyone. We must learn to live and learn to give each other what we need to survive. Together alive, ebony and ivory. Who is that? Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, right? Damn, yeah, I'll show my age on that shit. Two of Pentacles energy. This is that there's good and bad in everyone. Don't go down the rabbit hole. So, I don't want you, this feels like no going to extremes, okay? Some of you, don't take it too deep. Don't take it too personal. Some of you, this goes back to that pattern type energy. Your patterns of behavior. Especially those of you that wear your heart on your sleeve, okay? You need to reel that shit in. There's something you need to recognize, the patterns. It's your pattern, right? So if you constantly choose the same type energies to try to work with or create with or date, or, there's a pattern in the behavior. There's a pattern in the process. Some of you need to really, if you're going to dive deep emotionally, understand the pattern of the behavior. Yes, there's good and bad in everyone. So to get that energy off that temperance card means, yes, people can be good, people can be bad. So, you still got to pay attention to the patterns. And see, that's what I get with that. There's the end result, and there's the fucking pattern that you use to get the end result. Something is a repeatable process. Okay? That's why you make a pattern of something. It's so you can always pull on it to create the same thing. Okay? Yes, once you get it laid out, you can always make changes to the original pattern, but you always keep the original pattern there, and then you can alter as you go. I am picking up like sewing vibes, creating vibes. Those of you with woodworking, right? If you're following a woodworking pattern, you're doing something like that. It's all in the fucking pattern. But some of you need to watch your patterns of behavior with that moon card, okay? If you always go head over heels in love or choose the wrong fucking part or whatever the fuck you do that you know is a pattern of behavior you need to break, you probably need to set your ass down right now and really kind of look at both sides of everything. Four of Pentacles, now isn't the time to make a move, okay? You need to be focusing, paying attention to the pattern. The pattern, the world card here, something with within the this is giving me that sacred geometry here because we got it on the card, but also it's like Mother Nature, the pattern, the way everything kind of moves about. You know what I mean? There's like circles on all these cards. So things are definitely, this is like, it's always evolving. It's always going around. So that it's always repeatable. It's always repeatable, but, stay grounded. There's good and bad in everyone. There's good and bad. So you're going to be dealing with something where you're going to be seeing maybe the good or bad, the light or dark, right? You need to focus on patterns. Yeah, that's what you need to focus on right now. Patterns. What did I say with the Fibonacci sequence? Some of you, it's like nature. For some of you, it could be part of your human nature. So pay attention to the patterns. Pay attention to the patterns, Scorpio. Seven of Swords. That's how you learn. Some of you emotionally. Pay attention to the patterns. Now's the time to be focused on the healing, letting go of any negative energies that you need, getting grounded, most definitely, especially if you're feeling overly emotional. Get out, walk barefoot in your yard, use your grounding stones, whatever works for you. Ending patterns of behavior, creating positive patterns of behavior. Yes, there's good and bad in everyone, okay? There's good and bad in the world. Don't get all focused in on one. Because everything changes. But yet it all kind of follows a pattern. Damn, Scorpios, where the fuck are you all going with this? Nine of Wands. That feels like ancestor protection. What's behind that 3 of Wands? 93 can mean something. 39 can mean something. This is letting you know the universe has your back. This feels like you know this. Don't repeat patterns of behaviors. It's all about the patterns. It's all about the patterns with you, Scorpio. 5 of Pentacles here. So those of you that's gone down the rabbit hole and you're getting kind of caught up in your emotions, pay attention to the patterns. Maybe some of y'all go walk one of them little maze things if you need to. Or find a way to like walk in a circle, but like a big circle, so people don't think you just out there like a dog chasing your tail. You got to see the patterns in things. It's even like, like the way the solar system moves. Everything has a pattern. It has a timing to it. The patterns are, you always have that master pattern. So it's a repeatable process. That's why you make patterns of something. Okay? It's like a computer program. It's a pattern. So some of you all are old school, right? You're used to working from blueprints. You're used to working from patterns. Yes, they changed it now, and you can kind of, shush things up. You understand CAD and all that stuff, but you also need to, it feels like go back to the basics. Keep that sort of master pattern, but pay attention. Good Lord, Scorpios, I wasn't planning on lighting a fucking cigarette. Y'all got me ready to light a cigarette. Whatever the hell this is, Scorpios, I'm loving it. Because this is about understanding and recognizing the patterns. Okay? For some of you to break patterns that aren't healthy for you. For some of you to look at things a little different. There's probably some healing that needs to take place with this Temperance Angel. Because yes, there's good and bad in everyone. Ebony and Ivory. Live together in perfect harmony. You have to have everything there, everything in step. The pattern of music. Patterns are just going to, you're going to see them. You're going to notice them. Sacred geometry. The pattern. And it's getting like, when you see them scale models of the solar system and how everything kind of moves. It's all got a reason and a why. But mostly it's got a set pattern. And it's also about stability as well. Because this is that if you can dream it, you can make a pattern for it, and it can be reproducible. That's the beauty of this energy here, Scorpio, is that once you establish the pattern, once you recognize the pattern, then, you can kind of reproduce it. So you're going to be able to evolve beyond your situations. You're going to understand your patterns of behavior. You're going to see the patterns in things. The universe does have your back, and this is giving totally that Ebony and Ivory vibes here with these two cards. I love that. With that Ace of Wands or Ace of Swords energy there. The dissonance in a piano chord. Those of you that know music, right? When you put two chords, it's only a half step apart. It can sound funny and sound off, but when done right, it adds that perfect amount of tension in there, that perfect amount of dissonance. But you plan it out that way. You know what I mean? It's there for a fucking reason. And it's a pattern. Even sheet music, right? You write down sheet music. It's a pattern because it's repeatable. So you're definitely focusing on creating healthy patterns. For some of you, don't go back and recreate negative patterns as well. That can go either way. It depends upon, what you're focusing on right now. Focus on the healing, though. Five of Pentacles, yeah, you're focusing on patterns. There's something. So if you're coming from a shitty situation or you're coming from a sense of lack, you're actually thinking about it. This is critical thinking, right? This is looking at the situation and figuring out what needs to be corrected, what patterns of behavior, what patterns of, whatever you got going on that you need to focus on and work on. What's jumping out of you? You know, a really good way of discovering if you got some healing left to do is if a reading triggers you. Then you know that's an area that you need to focus on. For some of you with your work here, I feel this is work life. Focusing on creating that same sort of pattern. Once you get the right pattern, the right sort of process going, for some of you, it could be your schedule, maybe your work, love, life schedule, trying to figure out how to get everything going. It's like once you get that schedule in place, you see how easy it is to kind of move through things. But it comes when you kind of sit down and you work out a set schedule. Because a schedule is basically a pattern, okay? So pattern is very broad, but it's basically something that's repeatable. Some of y'all, this could be in your business, okay? You're trying to figure out, maybe you're trying to create some whatchamacallits, and you want to figure out how to, keep consistency there. This is boss energy here, Scorpios, as well. So for some of you, this could be an upgrade in work. It encompasses so much here, but it's all about the patterns. Healthy patterns, creating patterns, understanding patterns. But I'm definitely getting creative energy from that too, right? If you write down music, sheet music is basically a pattern because it's repeatable once it's down there on paper, right? If you're designing something, making the form so that way everything is repeatable. If someone goes to buy your products, the first one is going to be the same as the last one because there's consistency. You have a pattern. You have a pattern. So a lot of you with your work here, because here you are, Scorpio. It took me a minute. Yeah, things are going to start to pay off once you start paying attention to the patterns. The patterns. For a lot of you, right, the algorithms, right, the rhythm of life. Everything's got a pattern, a natural flow to it. Brings us back here to the Fibonacci sequence. Everything's got a pattern. Pay attention to the patterns. Somebody definitely has your back. You definitely got someone out there that has your back. And I love this energy showing up. For some of you, that could just be spirit, okay? I don't feel relationships because it's 3 of Wands. I don't think you might be ready for a relationship right now, some of you. You're going to be focusing on your money or you're going to be doing the healing work. So if you have the, the misfortune to always choose the wrong type of person consistently, you're going to try to be breaking that pattern. So now would be a good time to focus on breaking bad habits. Putting away the things you don't need, creating new schedules. Some of you look at your schedule, creating a schedule for yourself, scheduling out, allotting out time for certain things. In your work life, creative life, figuring out a way to consistently get the product out, that whatever it is you want to get out there, right? You stay consistent with the sort of pattern. I feel like a lot of you need some sort of structure. It's about getting some structure too. Heavy on the patterns, but patterns is basically you create the original so that way you can always go back and get a copy of the original. You know what I mean? King of Pentacles energy here. Ace of Cups, so some of y'all make sure your ass stays grounded. Drink plenty of water. It's okay to feel the emotions, but, for fuck's sake, stay grounded in reality as well. Again, with that, being able to understand your patterns. Four of Pentacles with that King of Pentacles. Some of you could have lost some patterns, so that might be what you're going through and looking for. Maybe you had some sheet music or some videos. You've lost something that you used to use as a template. For some of you, that's probably a good thing. For others of you, you might be looking to try to find it. So now you're going to be paying more attention and making sure that you keep a pattern handy so you can always call upon it in order to reproduce it. This is a beautiful energy because this is about creating something that is reproducible. You can always produce it because you've got that master pattern. You've got that master plan. You've got that sheet music written down. You know, you've got that CAD program saved to a hard disk somewhere. So you're never going to lose the original pattern. Five of Wands in reverse. You're removing conflict. Some of you, you're going to understand that once you get some sort of pattern in place, your life is going to be so much better. It's going to allow you to upgrade and actually move. For some of you, once you're able to reproduce on a consistent basis, the same thing, whatever it is you do, work, love, life, then you're going to see how you evolve and how you're able to grow. Yeah, Queen of Wands in reverse. I don't think now's the time to take action. Some of you, you got to sit down and you got to flesh it out. You got to put that shit on paper. You got to put it on computer file. You got to create that pattern. So that way you have the original. You always keep the original. There's that one again. I'm telling you, create the pattern. Here's the idea in your head, right? But create the pattern so that way once you do the original, you're always going to be able to reproduce it. Work, love, life on this. It's the same with patterns of behavior, right? Once you understand the patterns of behavior, then you're able to work within them parameters. Strength card in reverse. That feels like a racer energy to me. So maybe some of you are making, I've seen 2212 on the phone. So maybe some of you Scorpios are changing up things a little bit, especially if you lost the original pattern. So this is that just kind of wait, because you still got to work on that master pattern. Nine of Cups, that's a eureka moment, right? Where you find it and you're like, throw everything up in the air because you're so fucking happy. For some of you, it's finding that pattern that you were looking for. Some of you could be missing something and you're looking for it. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, you replaced something that was very valuable. But I don't want you to fear anything. If you lost the original pattern or plan, you can always go back to it. Knight of Wands in reverse. Yeah, there's some stagnation here, but it's there for a reason. Because you're not crying anymore. Yeah, so I think emotionally you could be breaking patterns. You're understanding. And that's going to help you release. For some of you, this is helping you deal with sadness and sorrow. Once you understand the sort of pattern, for some of you, maybe you're watching videos or you're paying attention to different things. It does feel like you're reading and understanding something that's written down to kind of help. Maybe it's the steps of grieving, and that's what's going to help set you free. With the Nine of Wands. Two nines here opposite each other. Again, this is that protective energy around you. Whoever the hell this Nine of Wands is, they could be living or they could be deceased. What covers that Nine of Wands? The Knight of Swords. Yeah, whoever the hell is protecting you, watching over you, they're trying to send you a message. Yeah, some of you, it is someone that's passed over. So pay attention. For some of you, it's in the patterns. Six of Cups in reverse. This is breaking past old habits. For some of you, relationships, partnerships, family dynamics. This is doing the healing. Three of Swords. Yeah, doing the fucking healing with the Three of Swords here in reverse. Scorpios, you got a lot on your plate right now, but you definitely got the divine help around you. Definitely could be an ancestor watching. Red light, yellow light, green light, go. But sit your ass down because there's some things you need to understand. Patterns. The patterns. Two of Swords energy. So some of you, this is that. I don't want you to go down that rabbit hole It's like focus. You need to focus. Yeah, because you're losing track of what the original sort of idea or thought process was. So we've had 3 nines here. 9 of Wands, 9 of Swords, and the 9 of Pentacles. You're going to get the idea, that Eureka idea, but make sure you write shit down. You got to write it down. You got to create that sort of master copy. So whatever you do is sort of repeatable. Especially when it comes to your business. Especially when it comes to your business, Scorpio. That 5 of Cups energy. That's feeling more retrospective. Don't go down the rabbit hole and get all too caught up in your emotions. For some of you, that's going to be the sure sign that you need to probably get a little bit more structure going in your life. If you're finding yourself yeah, you got some healing you still need to focus on, Scorpios. When you start feeling down, get out there and get active, okay? Do the opposite of whatever the hell you're feeling. You got to be breaking some patterns of behavior right now. Especially those of you that might get a little too overly emotional. 6 of Swords here in reverse with the 10 of Swords in the upright. There's still some shit you need to let go of in order to move forward. That's going to be different for everybody, but for a lot of you, that's part of the learning process. Shadow work. To love yourself because you got God. I told you had a passed over loved one. You had someone watching over you. For a lot of you, it's spirit. To help you finish up what shadow work you need to do to start loving yourself and, again, recreating that same pattern. You got the Hierophant there. Oh, Scorpios, that's beautiful. But the pattern is there so you can repeat the same process and get the same result. So, you know, if it's breaking bad habits, it's breaking bad habits. For some of you, it's creating new habits. For some of you with work, never get rid of the original. Have a pattern of it in case you want to always go back and reproduce it. 9 of Pentacles, some of you all, maybe you've lost some of the old patterns that you used to use, so you could have to be creating some new ones. This is all about being reproducible. Whatever it is, because that's basically all a pattern is it's reproducible. Okay? If you make a pattern to make clothing, you use it. You keep the original, so that way you can always go back and create it. And then once you got the pattern, you can always change it once you've cut the fabric out. But you always keep the original pattern. Some of you going to be creating your own patterns. Sheet music is basically pattern, right? It's down there in paper so you can read it. Woodworking, right? If you're creating from wood and you're following a pattern in a book or a plan to build something, right? It's all the same. It's a pattern. All about patterns, Scorpio. But that's a good energy to be in. Work, love, or life. Pay attention to the patterns. Pay attention to the patterns. You can ring my bell, ring my bell, ring-a-ling-a-ling. There's Archangel Michael. I told you you got loved ones watching over you. So this is some of you deal with your shadow work. You got to be breaking some bad habits and moving forward in a positive energy, okay? So do your work. Do your work. I love that. Whatever this is about, it's being reproducible. So, you know, you're going to be able to learn, to grow, and always get positive results. For a lot of you, write that shit down. Never give up your master sort of idea, or at least have a template of it, a pattern, so it's always repeatable. And pay attention to the patterns. Peace, love, and light, Scorpios.